the great and powerful Donald J. Trump. Of course, he had a press conference this morning about this. His part's not very long, but let's play it because Trump is always fun. I always love his love for America, his passion for our great nation, and his very humorous hyperbole that goes with his hair. So let's take a look at this first. And let's see, I'll make it a little bigger and I'll bump up the volume as we need to do with the YouTube stuff. And here we go. And it's not working. Maybe the
decision, an amazing decision, one that we're very happy about. This morning, the Supreme Court has delivered a monumental victory for the Constitution, the separation of powers, and the rule of law in striking down the excessive use of nationwide injunctions to interfere with the normal functioning of the executive branch. The Supreme Court has stopped the presidency itself. That's what they've done. And really, it's been an amazing period of time this last hour. There are people elated all over the country. I've seen such happiness and spirit. Sometimes you don't see that, but this case is very important. I was elected on a historic mandate, but in recent months, we've seen a handful of radical left judges effectively try to overrule the rightful powers of the president to stop the American people from getting the policies that they voted for in record numbers. It was a grave threat to democracy, frankly, and instead of merely ruling on the immediate cases before them, these judges have attempted to dictate the law for the entire nation. In practice, this meant that if any one of the nearly 700 federal judges disagreed with the policy of a duly elected president of the United States, he or she could block that policy from going into effect or at least delay it for many years.
Why doesn't he use my catchphrase? It's not that complicated, Donald. Unelected, black-robed, tyrannical, inferior federal district trial court judges. It's a mouthful, but it's accurate.
Tied up in the court system. This was a colossal abuse of power which never occurred in American history prior to recent decades. And we've been hit with more nationwide injunctions than were issued in the entire 20th century together. Think of it, more than the entire 20th century, me. I'm grateful to the Supreme Court for stepping in and solving this very, very big and complex problem, and they've made it very simple. I want to thank Justice Barrett, who wrote the opinion brilliantly, as well as Chief Justice Roberts, and Justices Alito, Gorsuch, Kavanaugh, and Thomas. Great people.
Not so great. Not so great are the three he doesn't mention, the three in the dissent, which are, of course, the primary dissent was authored by none other than Ketanji. Ketanji. How many Supreme Court justices does America need in all of its history who are named Ketanji? How many people named Ketanji contributed to the founding and building of America? Could it be more than one? Could it be even one? Ketanji, I'm not a biologist. How would I know what a woman is? D.E.I. Jackson. And, of course, Justice Sonia, the wise D.E.I. Latina Sotomayor. And let's not leave out Justice Elena. No, I've never been married and never had kids. Why do you ask? Kagan, who just 3 years ago was giving media appearances objecting to nationwide injunctions, but now she's in the dissent, defending them here. Oh, whose cow is being gored now, Elena? He doesn't mention them as great people.
Thanks for this decision, and thanks to this decision, we can now promptly file to proceed with numerous policies that have been wrongly enjoined on a nationwide basis. And some of the cases we're talking about would be ending birthright citizenship, which now comes to the fore.
By the way, I wish Trump wouldn't use this phrase, ending birthright citizenship. America does not have birthright citizenship. It did not have birthright citizenship before his executive order ending it. America has never, as a matter of constitutional law, had so-called birthright citizenship. It is not a thing. I will readily concede that I too thought it was a thing, because I was taught my entire life that if you're born on American soil, you're automatically an American citizen. It is nonsense. It is an utter lie. It is not what the 14th Amendment says. It is not what the 14th Amendment means. America has never had birthright citizenship, certainly not for invaders of our nation.
That was meant for the babies of slaves. It wasn't meant for people trying to scam the system and come into the country on a vacation. This was, in fact, it was the same date, the exact same date, the end of the Civil War. It was meant for the babies of slaves, and it's so clean and so obvious. But this lets us go there and finally win that case, because hundreds of thousands of people are pouring into our country under birthright citizenship, and it wasn't meant for that reason. It was meant for the babies of slaves. So thanks to this decision, we can now promptly file to proceed with.
That is a great phrase, though. It's meant for the babies, the babies of slaves. I love how he puts that. I mean, the left wants to call him racist for saying he's ending birthright citizenship. But how unracist can you be when you're just protecting the babies of slaves?
These numerous policies and those that have been wrongly enjoined on a nationwide basis, including birthright citizenship, ending sanctuary city funding, suspending refugee resettlement, freezing unnecessary funding, stopping federal taxpayers from paying for transgender surgeries, and numerous other priorities of the American people. We have so many of them. I have a whole list. I'm not going to bore you, and I'm going to have Pam get up and.
I love this transition. We have a whole list, and his staff gave him the whole list to read. He's like, oh, screw this. I'm not reading this whole list. I'm not going to read the whole list. I don't want to bore you. I'm going to bring up Attorney General Pam Bondi to do that. Pam, could you please bore this audience?
Say a few words, but there's really, she could talk as long as she wants, because this is a very important decision. This is a decision that covers a tremendous amount of territory. But I want to just thank again the Supreme Court for this ruling. It's a giant. And they should be very proud, and our country should be very proud of the Supreme Court today. And with that, I'd like you to listen to the words of Pam Bondi. She's an incredible Attorney General. We're very proud of her. And as you know, Todd Blanche is with us, and we have so many others that worked on this case and other cases. And I think they're doing a great job. Pam, please say a few words.
By the way, I wish he would bring up some of the attorneys, and he just mentioned some of them, who actually made these legal arguments to the Supreme Court, like the White House Solicitor General John Sauer. I would have him up there before Pam Bondi. Pam Bondi didn't make any of these legal arguments. She didn't draft any of these documents, to my knowledge. All the ones I've been reading and sharing with all of you have been the arguments to the Supreme Court have been made by Solicitor General John Sauer. John, where are you, buddy? You should be here front and center. This is your win. maybe he's getting a better reward someplace else than standing in front of the press. That's possible. So here comes Pam Bondi. I'm not gonna bore you either with Pam Bondi. I haven't listened to her talk yet. Maybe I will. Who knows? But it's clearly what happens, because I do get further in this press conference, is some people speak, and then President Trump comes back. And when he comes back, he proves once again how, and Charlie Kirk points this out here, how we don't deserve this guy. Listen to this. He comes back and he asks the press, hey, listen, we're getting, the time for this press conference has ended. But you people seem to have a lot of questions. What do you say? Should we keep going? Should we keep going? He's like a DJ in a club. Should we keep going? Should we keep spinning and listen to the reaction of the press and watch for the smiles on their faces? As much as they hate Trump, and I'm going to make them nice and big so you can see it, as much as they hate Trump emotionally, they can't help but smile at this. Watch this.
By the way, so many questions. Should we keep this going, Pam? This is the opposite of Biden. Biden would take a half a question and he'd leave without answering it. Go ahead. You tell me when it gets boring. Okay? Should
He's so amazing. What a president. Thanks for watching this highlight segment of our full-length Law of Self-Defense live stream. If you enjoyed this content, make sure to give us a like and subscribe for more expert analysis on politics, law, and how to be hard to convict. And to watch the full-length episode of this show, just click right here. Stay safe.